Hi guys, it's Lorenzo. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about this Epicyclia Serena O'Neill. This is my favorite orchid in my collection. It's a very fragrant orchid. It smells and reminds me of roses or some type of rose variety. It's got a nice musky but sweet smell to it. The smell is particularly stronger in the morning and in the evening, which I find to be really nice and refreshing. Sometimes in the morning when I'm kind of looking through my collection and doing some watering before work, I'll take a little sniff at it, and it has a very refreshing smell to it. So let me just zoom in for you here. It's a very beautiful flower. It seems that the purple part of the flower, the lip, has kind of faded away just a little bit. These flowers have been on this spike for probably about 2 months now. I probably had about 2 or 3 more buds on top of this. One by one they've slowly fallen off. I actually took one off just a little while ago. But as you can see, it's a beautiful flower spike. It put out 1, 2, 3, 4, so 5, 6, 7. It had about 7 flowers on it. When I purchased this, it only had 1 bud on it. And since they've all opened and a few others grew. Another one wanted to grow at one point but stopped, which is okay. This girl was already producing everything that she promised to do, so and more. I'm very satisfied with the blooms I got out of this spike. So let me just kind of zoom in on the plant itself. So some of the older growth you can see at the lower levels, and as the plant has grown, the largest of the bulbs is in the back, and that's where the spike came out of. It looked like this other one wanted to spike, but never truly did. So that's just the name of the game, I guess. I did a video on repotting a Phalaenopsis earlier in the day, and since I had everything out, I went ahead and repotted this particular orchid. I don't like to repot orchids when they're in bloom. It's something I don't like to do. So they seem to be doing fine. They wouldn't be blooming if they were being in distress of some kind. But since I had everything out, and I had not repotted this since I've purchased it a few months ago, I went ahead and just did it since the flowers are kind of at the tail end of their cycle anyways. So I went ahead and repotted it in mostly sphagnum moss. I'm not quite sure what the medium for this is the best for, but the plant itself was already in sphagnum moss. I thought it would have been some sort of a moss bark mix of some kind, but it was almost exclusively sphagnum moss. In the middle of the media where the bulbs are, right in the core, there was almost like a sponge. So I guess whoever originally planted this orchid had it in some sort of sponge, and then they put sphagnum moss around it. I thought it was very peculiar. Nonetheless, the media was already really breaking down. It was really black right here at the base. Up in here, I had a hard time really removing all the media. It took me probably about 20 minutes to clean it up. I would remove some of the sphagnum moss, run it under water, try to get in there, and then I clean it up with some clipping shears that I have that I like to use for these projects. And then when I started to repot it, I thought, well, let me do a little research and see what would be best to pot this orchid. And I never really found anything too definitive on planting it. Some people had it in bark, some others had it in other types of media. But you know, since this orchid was already in sphagnum moss, I thought, well, it's already adjusted to that environment. It seemed to like it. It did not have any issues being in sphagnum moss. So I went actually a little bit on the lighter side with sphagnum moss. So I put a mix of sphagnum moss, Orchiata bark mix, and I just kind of peppered that in between. So it was a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It was almost kind of layering. And I thought that would be a good way to allow for drainage, giving it a little bit of air in there. Making the mix not as compact with sphagnum moss, and I'm going to see how it goes. So this one is kind of an experiment. I normally don't plant orchids in exclusively sphagnum moss, but since it was already in that kind of mix and it produced these beautiful flowers, it apparently kind of likes it. And in my environment, it doesn't seem to mind it at all. So this is my Epicyclia Serena O'Neill. I really like this orchid. It is beautiful. It has really good look to it. It has a very nice balance in its flow. I really like the pot that I chose for it as well. It's really pretty. I keep this one indoors, and I keep it near a southern facing window. I have a huge window in my living room that is all southern facing, and I have a bookshelf on there where I highlight all my favorite orchids. I'll do a video on some of the others, one of which is in Dendrobium microchip. I really like that one. It's also fragrant with kind of like a sweet lime smell to it. It's really nice, very subtle. But anyway, I just wanted to show you my Epicyclia Serena O'Neill. If you like this video and any of my other videos, subscribe to me on my YouTube channel, or you can leave any comments on the links below if you have any suggestions on growing or future videos. I'd be happy to answer those, as well as show you other orchids in my collection. So for now, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.